Dump divers, round up. It was a clear black night, a clear white moon. Dump divers in the dump trying to assume another identity so they can run away from Clay Travis' challenge to the WNBA. Just hit the east side, LGBT, running from high school boys who ain't hit puberty. We're getting called out for our substandard play. That's why we're paid minimum wage in the WNBA. Oh, where are my dump divers? Oh, where could they be? Where are these ladies? Where is the mainstream media? A couple of weeks ago, it was a celebration of rainbows and woke wieners in the WNBA dump. The mainstream media was telling me about the high level of play and pretend basketball. They were talking about the miracles that were taking place on a WNBA court. Meet Erin, a gender non-binary mother to an emotional support shovel. Erin was suffering from a heat stroke. She sat courtside at a WNBA game where a miracle was performed by Kelsey the plumber as she cooled Erin off attempting a windmill dunk that was airballed. Couple weeks ago, the WNBA and the mainstream media, they were bragging about the ratings growth in the WNBA finals. Our ratings are growing faster than the woke wiener at Club Shay Shay. The dump averaged 728,000 viewers during the WNBA finals, with two of those games being broadcast on ABC. Now, the media claimed this was a resounding success, but here on the channel, drawing 728,000 on network television, that is classified as a huge embarrassing failure. This year, the celebration of Wiener coming out of the WNBA finals, it was cut short. As the celebration was happening, the mood suddenly changed. The air was let out of the whoopee cushion. Genders were not the only things transitioning, as feelings of joy transitioned into feelings of dread. Over the last couple of years, the media has tried to convince us that the dump divers in the WNBA are playing an elite level of basketball. The media has tried to convince us that the WNBA product is not substandard. Matter of fact, there are actually some in the media that believe that the product on the court in the WNBA is better than the product in the NBA. Now, obviously, those shit fucks are blinded by ideology. 2 weeks ago, Clay Travis, he decided to put the complete lack of skill in the WNBA through a test. Clay Travis issued a challenge to the dump divers. More specifically, he issued a challenge to the Anonymous Faces in Las Vegas, the group of dump divers that won exclusive access to the Golden Toilet for the second year in a row. The challenge was very simple. Clay Travis put up $1 million of his own money. He would select a championship boys basketball team at the high school level, have them compete with the best trash engineers in the WNBA. Now, just to be clear, this would not be a competition to see who could get their trash routes completed the fastest. Clay Travis, he was challenging the WNBA to a real basketball game. Now, this challenge from Clay Travis, it went ignored. The WNBA, absolutely silent. Now, of course, there were some in the mainstream media who were making excuses. This isn't fair. Clay Travis knows that WNBA players don't have $1 million. These women are making minimum wage. Some of them won't see $1 million in their lifetime. This is misogyny. Okay, fair enough. In a way, I can kind of understand that excuse. When you can barely afford to keep running water, it's unfathomable to risk $1 million betting on a basketball game. BetOnline is an offshore sports book who heard this excuse from the media and they decided to do something about it. BetOnline stepped in. They offered to cover the expenses for the WNBA. The dump divers no longer have to panhandle to come up with $1 million. BetOnline matched the bet from Clay Travis, meaning all the dump divers have to do to collect the biggest paycheck of their lives is show up and beat these high school boys. That's it. This is now a risk-free challenge from a financial perspective. I mean, if you're a real professional basketball player and you're offered $1 million to beat a group of high school kids, you're going to accept this challenge, right? I mean, think about it. Let's assume for a second that this same offer was made to the NBA. Let's even take it a step further. Let's assume this offer was made to the G League. Average salary in the G League around $40,000 a year. G League players, they would accept this challenge no questions asked. And they would beat a championship level high school team by 60 points. That's how wide the gap is between high school basketball and professional basketball. It's not even close. The reason Clay Travis issued this challenge is because WNBA players, they are some of the biggest advocates for transgender participation in sports. Earlier this season, the biggest star in the WNBA, Bob Griner, was advocating for men to be allowed to compete in women's sports. If I remember correctly, Bobby G even wanted to see a dude playing in the WNBA, which, to be honest with you, I happen to agree with Bob here. Please, please allow dudes to play in the WNBA. All it would take is one season, WNBA would be shut down, which means all those players living rent-free in the dump, they would have to apply for jobs at Waste Management. Now, I was notified of this offer from BetOnline late last week. I think it was last Thursday. I almost talked about it over the weekend, but I wanted to give it some extra time. I wanted to give the WNBA plenty of time to accept this challenge. I waited and waited and waited. Here we are, almost a full week later, and the WNBA is still exercising their right to remain silent. Why? This doesn't make any sense. Why are you refusing to accept this challenge? If you're truly professional basketball players, if the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces are truly an elite team, they should have no problem dominating a group of high school boys, right? I'll tell you why the WNBA is remaining silent. Number one, this game is never going to happen. Clay Travis and BetOnline, they could offer the WNBA $100 million, which would be more money than this league has ever made. Hell, if it was $100, it would be more money than the dump has ever made because this league has never turned a profit. The reason this game is never going to happen, the WNBA has too much to lose. It's too risky. If they were confident in their level of skill, if they truly believe that men don't have a physical advantage over women, they would accept this challenge with no questions asked. The problem is, they don't really believe that bullshit. They pretend to believe it, but just like everything else being promoted by Woke United Methodist, when you actually challenge them on their beliefs and their convictions, they run away and hide. Number two, the WNBA is remaining silent because they're scared. They're afraid that Clay Travis is right because Clay Travis is right. I guarantee you, if this game were to actually take place, Las Vegas odds makers, they would have the high school boys as the favorites to win this game. Hell, they might even be favored by double digits. From the WNBA's perspective, they have got everything to lose here and absolutely nothing to gain. But KC, they could win $1 million. Yeah, but that ain't gonna happen. When the inevitable happens and they lose, the dump also loses their credibility. Now, I know for us normal people, the WNBA doesn't have any credibility to lose, but there is a dozen or so people out there who believe this is actually real basketball. The off chance that the WNBA wins this game, the narrative will be they were supposed to win. If they win by 5, maybe even 10 points, the WNBA still loses all credibility. The only way for the WNBA to come out of this looking good is if they dominate this high school boys team. And everyone knows there is no chance of that happening. Now, even though the WNBA is choosing to remain silent, they do have an unofficial spokesperson that is speaking on their behalf, NBA veteran Patrick Beverly. Apparently, Patrick Beverly has a podcast. I guess he's a part of the new media that Draymond Green keeps promoting. You know, the new media, where NBA players unobjectively cover themselves instead of having the media cover their league. Patrick Beverly, he's got plenty of time for a podcast because his NBA career is essentially over. But in his prime, Patrick Beverly was a great defender. This dude had a very nice run in the NBA. With his experience as a veteran in this league, as a real professional basketball player, you would think Patrick Beverly knows the game of basketball. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. Watch for yourself.
Man, it has to be on drugs.
What he said was he would bet $1 million that a high school boys championship team could beat the WNBA champions or just any WNBA team.
I don't fuck what he said. They're way more physical than man. I literally went through a Minnesota Lynx while I was chasing area powers through screens, and they hit you more, they screen harder, they hold their screens.
Who screens harder, the Minnesota Lynx or Scotty Barnes?
Lynx. It's a physical ass game, bro. These WNBA girls are skilled.
Are you out of your fucking mind? If I am a close friend of Patrick Beverly, I am calling for a wellness check on him immediately. Let me get this straight. You're accusing Clay Travis of being on drugs because he thinks a championship level boys high school team can beat the dump divers in the WNBA. And you follow up that statement by claiming that WNBA players are more physical than NBA players? Really? The only reason NBA players aren't as physical today as they were in the past, they're not fucking allowed to be. Adam Silver has removed all physicality from this league. But if Patrick Beverly is so confident in the dump divers, how come he's not putting up his own money? Let's go ahead and increase the earnings here. Throughout his 13 years in the NBA, Patrick Beverly made over $80 million. If you remove the fees for his agent and the astronomical amount of taxes that he was forced to pay, that's probably closer to $40 million. He's probably spent half that money, if not more. Either way, I would assume that Patrick Beverly is sitting on a $10, $15, $20 million nest egg and just in cash, meaning he can afford to spare $1 million and bet on the players in the WNBA. Now, of course, Patrick Beverly is never going to do that because he knows he would essentially be giving his money away. He would be better off putting that money in a furnace and burning it. At least it would keep him warm. Give me your thoughts on this. The WNBA continues to run away from this challenge from Clay Travis. Been 2, maybe 3 weeks now, and the WNBA is still remaining silent. Been almost a full week since BetOnline offered to pay the WNBA's tab, eliminating all of their financial risk. WNBA still silent. Do you think this game ever happens? Is there any benefit to the WNBA of accepting this challenge? And if they did, who would win? The dump or the high school boys? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate you guys and your continued support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.